I hope I didn't completely lure you here on false pretenses, because I was really excited when I posted that thing on the Patreon. And now, of course, I've been developing it, and now I'm in the day where you say, oh, this really isn't all that great.
Oh, no.
So it just, I mean, like riding it high for the last few days, and then today I was like, oh, wait, who wrote this? This is bullshit. So we'll see. Well, the idea now, I have no idea. In a better world where I wasn't being contracted to do things like Champions Now and Cosmic Zap and stuff that has deadlines, if in a better world where I wasn't doing that, then this would be what I was working on just because I felt like it. You should know that all the way back when I was working on Gray Magic, so that would have been 28 years ago, I wanted to do at the time, a very naive notion of what Middle East means. I had something like that in my mind that I wanted to use a similar system for, and it's probably related to weird stereotypes about if I was going to do knights for Circle of Hands, then that means I must do Saracens or I must do something Arabian or something like that for the same idea. I mean, it just... And also, remember, this was all about Magic the Gathering.
Right. The Arabian Nights was actually a...
Right. Arabian Nights had come out as a first expansion, and Antiquities had just come out after that. And I maintain, and this was before... People might think of it, it's kind of like the old Marvel, right? People look at those expansions in Magic, and it's like, this is crazy. You know, this would never work in tournaments. This would be this would be that. This is nuts. And they all feel better now that everything kind of got digested and standardized and balanced and all kinds of things like that. And I kind of feel the same way about that early Magic the Gathering that I do about Marvel Comics. That it was better before it got carefully standardized and carefully fan approved and carefully edited. Well, anyways, it might not have been a better card game, but it was better fantasy. So anyway, the time has gone by and gone by, and I really think the Arabian Nights side of it all became a lot less interesting to me. But especially because that's such a 19th century British fantasy of, you know, I mean, the Arabian Nights is originally an Arabic document, but the way we understand it has been massaged through all kinds of bullshit. So, you know, I just kind of thought about it and said, all right, well, Circle of Hands is pre-Crusades Northern Europe in a lot of ways. It's changed a lot. There's no Christianity, for example, but that's the culture. And this, I got the more I thought about it, the more I said, you know, this has got to be an ancient city. This has got to be the holy city. This has got to be the city which has been through every, you know, it's kind of like you make up a new religion. Well, this city must be in it.
Okay.
Because everybody knows it's the holy city, and we're saying our religion is brand new. Well, except, of course, that it's, you know, the holy city is at the center of it. Just everybody knows that. There's other things, too. In the maps of that part of the world, before the discovery of the Americas by Europeans, you know what I mean. Jerusalem is the center. That's the way the map was done. You take the piece of paper and you put Jerusalem in the center, and then you just build everything outward from there. And that's just what it was. And so it's a little bit like that. I also like the idea of taking it about the same time period, culturally, when Jerusalem really isn't very exciting to anybody. It's pre-Crusades. Nobody from far away cares.
Right.
And the centers of power have long since moved and been established in other places. The equivalent of Damascus, the equivalent of Baghdad, the equivalent of Alexandria, and places like that. That's all Rome. I mean, they're all somewhere else. They all care about the holy city, but they don't live there. There's the guy who, nobody's like ruling an empire from Jerusalem. And so it's kind of, sleepy, old, layered, weird. And it's really hard to get away from the Jewish, Christian, and Islam content, because it's not Jerusalem. It's just like it. So I'm just thinking that there is these layerings of religion, but we don't have to think that they're that religion. So this is really different from Circle of Hands. The people don't, the adventures don't go anywhere. In Circle of Hands, you never see where you come from, or the place where you started your journey anyway. Here, you're in your city. Also, unlike the Circle, where the characters know each other and have banded together in a very definite way, and this one particular group for a given venture have banded together, it's completely the opposite. They're also, unlike in the Circle Knights, they've all got, post-traumatic stress syndrome. They're, shaken up socially. They're shaken up magically. They've redefined themselves, as to be Circle Knights, and they have banded. They're closer to each other in many ways than they are to anybody else. Here, it's completely different. You're making up boring people. You're making up people who have lives, people who have stuff to do, people who have connections, people who have debts, people who are completely understandable. And you know exactly what they're going to do when they get up in the morning tomorrow.
Much more realistic people.
What's that, Abars?
Much more realistic people.
Well, yes, in lots of ways. And that's one of the things I'm kind of hoping will be strangely exciting. You're going to roll dice and you're going to get, Joe, the investment counselor. You're going to get Jane, the author.
All right.
And they're not even interesting like working class either. They're all people with means in one fashion or another, although as you can see it's going to be interesting that way too. But they're bourgeois. So the trouble is, as the title suggests, they also know that the city is about to burn. The ancient calendar, the one in the old Square of the God, the ancient calendar that's been up there all this time, if you know how to read it, it's telling you, any minute now, everything's going up in smoke. And these guys, these people have had visions, dreams, that tell them so. And it's the last thing any of them ever cared about. I mean, at this point, the religion, the primary religion of the city, is administrative and legal. It doesn't do anything except manage, legal problems. It doesn't do anything else. Foreigners come to the holy city and they go nuts. They run through the streets and they pray at some old forgotten temple, and they're annoying. Foreigners who come to the holy city, they're very excited. The people who live there, they're like, what the fuck, and they don't care. And so, so for people like this to have these prophetic dreams of just fiery destruction that have been predicted by the ancient calendar that hardly anyone ever uses anyway. Like maybe for some holidays they like consult that calendar because they like the holiday, but that's it. But for them to have these dreams, basically they're crazy as far as everyone else is concerned.
Right.
So play is about what a few of you have just dreamed a given venture. If we're not going to call it a venture, we're going to call it, in fact, we're probably going to call it a vision. So for this vision, some few of you have had this. And by definition, when you choose a character, same thing where everybody makes up a couple of characters. All right, so that is the same. Everybody, you're going to have a pool of characters. And when you choose a character, if they haven't played before, this is the first time it's ever happened to them. They don't know these other people.
So it's a good idea at first, but how are the players will be interesting to play up characters that they don't know each other in real life? That's number
Right.
one.
Mm-hmm.
And the second question, the game will be about playing a character who sees a vision, or playing a character in real life who had seen this vision and had to tell or do something about it.
I see. Right. Well, the vision has just struck. The play begins when the vision strikes, or that you wake up from a dream. And so the characters are reacting to that.
Okay.
And the content of the vision gives enough information for us to start playing all the characters, and it's pretty likely that they're going to come into contact.
Okay.
Right. And that's going to be a matter of some interest, I think. So to carry on, you are confronting these visions, but nobody else in the city can see them. So when you go to a person that you know is going to be an agent of destruction, and in fact, this is an important point, each one of your characters has defined something that you love, you value, or you hope for. Those are three slightly different things. Things you love, things you value are things that you want to save and preserve the way they are. Things you love are things that you want to provide for, that you want to contribute something to. And things that you hope are things that don't exist but could. You're close. So, but they're very concrete things. Your dream showed you that is going to be first on the list. You know, it's kind of like this event is going to be a series of ever-increasing disaster that will end with the city in flaming rubble.
Okay.
But it will begin now with the thing that you love. So you wake up, your vision was primarily of the destruction of this thing that's very personal to your character that the player made up.
I'm getting a really strong sense of like this apocalyptic game feeling. Like
that's the idea. If we take it a little bit further toward my view of what play should be like, then you will have the character, for example, confronting somebody, and it looks to everybody else as though your character is addressing a normal person. What they see may be a bronze statue that is fueled by these fires inside it. What you see might be something very, is a very horrific, frightening, fiery adversary. So every vision does have a specific adversary that's the same, just one, that's the same for all of you. But what's threatened by it is something very personal for all of you, as well as, in the long run, the city itself.